You think Florida is loud, overpriced, predictable. That assumption already costs leverage. The places that actually work here don't advertise, don't trend, and don't explain themselves. They trade convenience for control, growth for insulation. Sounds smart, until most people choose wrong early. If this kind of trade-off thinking matters, subscribing quietly avoids mistakes. Start small, not cheap, controlled. Place number 5 starts with a decision. Slow down now or keep chasing momentum. Once you slow down here, acceleration later gets expensive fast. Number 5. Defuniak Springs. In a state where the Miami boom is treated like a baseline, Defuniak Springs is what happens when growth quietly opts out. About 6,300 people, flat incomes, and low rent aren't perks, they're signals. Money doesn't rush here, it waits. The town is built around a perfectly round lake. That looks charming, until you realize circles don't move forward. Historic buildings soften the scene. They don't create jobs. Here, time covers the rent. Your income doesn't. Character comes cheap, momentum doesn't. So here's the decision. Stay where growth stalled and options keep shrinking, or pay more to buy structure. For some, slowing down feels like freedom. For others, it hardens into a ceiling. The next town didn't reject growth, it filtered it. And that choice quietly raises the price. Number 4. Mount Dora. Order costs money here. Median rent sits around $1,300, which is high for a small Florida town. And that's the point. You're paying for walkability, low violent crime, and a downtown that behaves. This looks stable because it's curated. Festivals are scheduled, growth is managed, randomness is trimmed. Tourism helps until it crowds your calendar and prices out flexibility. Jobs exist, but mostly within the system that sells the charm. Predictability replaces upside. Comfort improves. Exit options disappear. Mount Dora proves what order costs. But structure only works if you're willing to live inside it. Some people like rules, schedules, and managed charm. Others don't want to be managed at all. The next place doesn't curate growth or polish stability. It removes the system entirely. Fewer options, fewer rules, and far less patience for anyone who needs speed, signals, or approval. That's where the real trade begins. Number 3. Cedar Key. Access disappears before comfort does. With roughly 700 residents, this town is smaller than most office buildings, and it functions like one after hours. Low rent isn't generosity, it's the price of limited work, limited bandwidth, limited rescue. Internet crawls, storms linger, and recovery runs on local patience, not outside urgency. The economy favors seafood, art, and people who don't need permission or explanations. Peace is earned by subtraction. Isolation isn't a side effect here. It's the operating system. Cedar Key proves what happens when systems disappear. That works if you don't need backup. But some people don't want freedom by subtraction. They want safety that's already paid for. The next town didn't opt out of systems, it locked them in decades ago. Quiet streets, low crime, cheap housing, and a kind of stability you don't earn anymore. You inherit it. That's where the trade shifts from access to lineage. Number 2. Quincy. Cheap housing here isn't a fluke, it's inherited. Quincy looks quiet because the money already did its work decades ago. Median home prices sit far below Florida norms. Crime stays low, and nothing feels rushed. This stability isn't earned weekly, it's passed down. Jobs exist, but ambition isn't the engine, preservation is. The town runs on lineage, not momentum. That buys safety, silence, and predictability. It also caps reinvention. You don't climb here. You settle into a system that already decided who thrives. If you care about these trade-offs before they lock in, about where stability helps and where it quietly limits, you can subscribe here. Not for inspiration, for fewer bad assumptions later. Quincy shows what happens when security is inherited and the future stays polite. But some people don't want inherited calm or managed stability. They want something rarer. The next place didn't preserve wealth or remove systems. It survived by refusing urgency altogether. No rush, no reinvention, no pitch. Just a town that kept going while everything else sped up. And that choice has the highest price yet. Number 1. Apalachicola. Nothing here is trying to scale. That's the feature. Apalachicola moves at a pace where urgency simply didn't stick. Rents stay modest, crime stays low, and the economy does just enough to keep going. Seafood, small shops, work that ends when the day does. This town doesn't optimize for growth or reinvention. It optimizes for continuity. You don't move here to become something new. You arrive because you're done becoming. Time isn't saved here. It's spent, slowly, on purpose. Thanks for watching.